All right. And we're live. Welcome to paraglidingtalk.com. I'm your host, Robert Michaels. Glad you're here. You found the best place to be on the interwebs on a Thursday night to talk about paragliding. I'm going to try to get my stuff together here. Stay tuned for just a second. Appreciate you logging in. If you're in the chat, your name's going into a list, and we're going to give some stuff away right about midway of this show. So stay tuned to make sure that you chat it up in the chat. Quick order of business. This show is brought to you by ppgzone.com. Josh Perry created an online, we'll just call it a platform. And it's a super cool platform where it's all about flying. So go check out that website. The website again is ppgzone.com and create yourself a profile on there. It's pretty neat. And there's all kinds of videos that will help you to be a better pilot. And that's why we're here tonight, because we want to be better pilots. Also, this show is brought to you by Midwest Parajet. MidwestParajet.com is the website. They've got a network of great schools all over the country, and they've got resources for days. When you're talking about flying, there's all kinds of cool stuff that they have to offer in the sport. They're the guys that helped me get my motor. So if you want to reach out to them, MidwestParajet.com, you can ask for Steve. And these guys have really good depth in the sport. Really good people. Awesome. Okay, I do want to mention something very special tonight. Did you guys know that PPG Smoke, they sold enough and we're giving away at least one motor right now? And it looks like we're going to end up giving away two, but we're giving away one motor for sure. I talked to Ryan today. He's probably going to jump on here at some point because he's got some great news. And so, yeah, pretty excited about that. PPG Smoke. This is a sponsor of the show. Go check out their website, ppgsmoke.com. If you want to get your name on the list to win one of these motors, not a full frame and harness and all that, just a motor itself, Simonini 125. And then he's going to do a 250 as well. If he sells 150 units, 150 of the headsets that Ryan Roberts came out with. Go to the website. You can see he's got some really good pictures on there of the they call it a Unity headset, and you'll like it. It's pretty cool. I got to test them out, and you can own a pair yourself, and they're coming really soon. It looks like they're gonna. Well, I'll let him share. So also the show's brought to you by paramotorprops.com. If you are looking to get a great deal on props, maybe you blew one up and you're like, oh man, I need to get one right away. And these guys, they're all over the place. Paramotorprops.com, best prices for props on the interwebs. Also, show's brought to you by paraorangeproducts.com. Larry and Chris make all kinds of great things to protect your gear, including prop covers, weatherproof motor covers. He's got some really great windsocks and poles and streamers. I actually bought a pole and a streamer for myself, and it is really robust, and you can tell it's going to last a long time. And I even put one up at our local flying site because we needed it. ParaOrangeProducts.com. Check out the website. Awesome. Josh Perry is in the chat right now. He mentioned you guys, PPG Zone is going to be doing a paramotor calendar. If you want a chance to put your photo in the calendar, go and upload your photos. You can also vote on other members' photos in 1 to 5 stars. Oh, I want to put my pictures. I see that he had sent a message. I did not check my email yet. Sorry, man. I'll check it right after this show, though. So glad that you're here. Our guest, JC, is just a few minutes behind. He unlike many people in this sport, actually has a job. And he works at Torrey Pines. He's flying tandems, and it's still on right now. So he had to sneak out of there, and hopefully he doesn't get in trouble. But he just messaged me. He's just a few minutes out. I do want to say thank you for Sean, Anthony Peregringo, Nick Vasakis, and Craig Taylor with us in moderation tonight. And we always have a great time. We've got some great topics and things that we're going to talk about. If you've got something that you want to bring to the table tonight and questions, ask away in the chat, and we will get those questions over to our guest. If you guys want to go back and look at some previous episodes, JC has been on the show before, and I didn't realize what a amazing guy he is. And he's a really cool guy in person. You just instantly you're gonna love the guy. He's just super chill, super nice, and but he also has a deep background in all kinds of flying things. So he actually worked with the United States military in making some harnesses for skydiving, and then he's done a bunch of canopy work, and just he's got all kinds of great things to add to the flying adventure. So we're going to talk to him as soon as he's ready to come on. There's a few people that I want to mention in the chat that have been a part of the show from the get-go. One of those is Anthony Vella. I want to mention him real quick because he's got a new channel that is on YouTube. Now, you may have listened to his Paramotor podcast, just the podcast. Well, he's transferred those over to YouTube, so go check those out. And I wouldn't have mentioned that except for I saw him in the chat. So what's up? Glad that you guys are here. Also, real quick, while we're kind of just burning some daylight, I've got Amsoil. If you guys need some, I sent Sean's out. It seems like it only takes a day or two. Amsoil's got stuff all over the place. So reach out to me in the through the website paraglidingtalk.com.
Yeah, it came today from last week. That's pretty quick.
Yeah, that is pretty quick.
That's Walmart quick or Amazon quick. That's pretty quick.
That's Amsoil quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm not looking to make money on this. It's just for the homies.
Hopefully it greases my engine like it does the mail.
That stuff is really good, and I don't want to spoil it, but we're going to do a show probably in the next couple weeks, at least in the next month. We're going to do a full show on just two-stroke oil, and we're going to bring in a couple competitors, and we're going to have them fight it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, wouldn't that be fun? I got some great pictures. Yeah, reporting and ready to win the spin. All right. Clark Kent is in the chat. Ripman Riding's moderating tonight in the chat. Ripman's got a new, looks like he's got a new picture. I can't tell what it is, but that's cool.
Ripman's on top of it in using that wrench.
Oh yeah, he is one of the most skilled. He beats me every time.
It's like a guru. He's a moderation guru.
He cracks them over the side of the head first and then deletes their text.
Yeah, that's right.
Great.
He's the only person that I've seen that's been able to mute my wife and my son.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Does not care. Strictly business. Yeah, so I do want to also mention that if you want to catch some of these shows, maybe you haven't been able to catch them all live, and there's a handful of them that I've been dropping on. It's called Anchor FM, and Anchor distributes this out to Apple Podcast. It distributes out to a bunch of them, but there's links in the description if you want to follow those. Pretty cool on those things. Want to bring up something before we get rolling, and JC is going to be on any second. He just texted me again, and so I'm going to let him get his stuff. But I kind of want to open up a little can of worms before we get rolling. I've had a lot of accidents and some fatalities in the last few months, and there's certain things that happen. Oh, DP donated $15 super chat. Thank you, sir. Alms for the poor, of course, and my wife is in on all this paramotor stuff. Did I read that right? She is in. Nice. Well done, DP. Now, I think I met his wife this last time, the after show. Saw her on there for just a second. Yeah. So anyways, we've had these, a handful of, crashes that resulted in injury or fatality. And one of the big things that came up in the last conversation was riser twist and over torque. And so I didn't really think about that too much. I've got a Parajet Maverick. The torque compensation is set up in the arms and a couple other little features in that motor. So it's not a huge deal. But when you start to get into the higher, higher than 80 cc, it seems like the torque becomes a very big deal. I'm obviously it can be a big deal with an 80 cc motor because I mean they're still pushing quite a bit of force, but something that it didn't cross my mind until I talked to my instructor Phil Russman, and he mentioned something after that accident. He's like, "Listen, man, you really need to be careful with that power because I got a Mostra 185, and I'm a light guy. I only weigh 165 pounds." And so when you're talking about torque and torque compensation, there's a few things that you can do, but I want to encourage you, if you're watching and maybe you're new to the sport and you bought something from someone and maybe you didn't get the fuzzy feelings after you bought it. And, everybody gets into the sport a different way. There's 20 different, I'd say there are 2,000 different streams to get into paramotoring. Whichever direction you took, first of all, I'm glad that you're here. And second, consider doing some research on this. So we never stop learning. Obviously, we never stop growing in this sport, right? The moment that you think you came to, you become a weirdo. But you become very dangerous because the moment that you think you know everything is the moment that you stop learning, and then you become, jacked up. Well, this torque thing, I hadn't spent much time thinking about it or talking about it. Coming from the free flight world, you don't really, this is not an issue. And then the conversation, it came up a couple different times, and I just thought, oh yeah, that's for, some old crappy motor that doesn't have lamels and, it doesn't have torque compensation in the swing arms and, whatever. But it's a real thing, and it's probably one of the most dangerous things, especially if you're not really in tune with your glider. And so I want to just encourage you, do some investigating, do some homework on riser twist and torque. And I'm not going to share any videos or anything like that tonight. Maybe we might do it in a show down the road. But yeah, Taylor Prater, what in the world? That must be our guest. JC. All right.
Yo.
There he is.
I'm so sorry, guys.
Nah, you're good, man. You're just in time.
Really?
I've got to fix your name on here, though. Your name is Taylor Prater.
His name's not Justin, it's Taylor Prater.
How you guys doing?
Yeah. JC in the house.
Sorry, guys. I just got here. My dog's probably going to get crazy. Life is good. I was fine all day.
Yeah, it looked like it was still on when you left. So I
hope
I didn't get you in trouble.
I was like, I'm out of here because I'm not going to make it. Typical, the last flight, you make it to the beach and then it's no way.
Yeah. You have to hike out. Yeah. Did you didn't hit the beach though, right?
No, not today.
Oh, okay, good.
Pretty good. Yesterday was a couple of beach landings, but not today. Today was pretty good.
So if you guys don't know, I did give you a little segue before you came and told a little bit about your background. But I want to, if you can, please take us back to the beginning real quick. And I know that there was a whole other episode where you talked about everything. Just kind of give everybody a recap of how you got into the sport and how you got to where you are right now.
Well, my career is skydiving, right? Like I have 25 years or so of skydiving experience. I work in the three major skydiving manufacturers, and I run one of the biggest drop zones actually in the United States, probably in the world. So I was the chief instructor there for a while. I'm a master parachute rigger, so I have an FAA rating that allows me to do repairs on the skydiving side. You have like 3 levels of rigging senior, master, and let's call it's a DPRE. It's just like an examiner type of thing, like an administrator position, like the one who signs your rating up. I applied to that, but then I moved. So that's by region, pretty much, because I moved to California from Florida. Then I kind of abandoned that idea. And when I moved to California, I really didn't want to work in the skydiving side. Um, I was just lucky. I'm sorry about that, my dog.
That's okay.
I was just lucky that I could show up at Tori, and I got a job offer. So I've been flying paramotors and paragliders. Probably paramotors. It's gonna be hard to know. 2000. I don't know. Maybe what year we're on? 21, right? So
21.
probably I don't know. I will say 2008, maybe paramotoring, and then few years or maybe a few months later, paragliding. You know,
Okay.
living in Florida, you don't have much time, or it's a lot of driving to go to maybe to go do some towing. So I never really, I don't know if I should say this, but I never really had an instructor for paragliding.
Oh wow.
Um, but this I think the first time I got a paraglider without a motor in my back, I was doing an SIV. So that's how it started a few years back. I'm old
Okay.
now, gray hair.
You say I'm old now? Yeah.
I'm old now.
So
um,
how did you get into paramotoring?
like when you work in the skydiving, I guess, and it was every day of my life jumping out of airplanes, pretty much. I wanted to do something that it was just me, right? Like not 22 people in the airplane. Um, I remember seeing these guys in a video, whatever it was. I think it was actually, if I'm not mistaken, it was Chris Santa Croce. If I'm not mistaken, it was him. I saw this video of these guys. I think they were sponsored at the time by Red Bull or whatever it was, and another guy in Utah. I don't want to mention him.
Yeah.
uh, I saw that and I thought it was the coolest thing ever, right? Like, and I talked to a friend of mine. I said, "Oh, yo, we should go into this thing." And he's like my brother. His name is Harry actually he's from Venezuela. He lives in Miami. And we talk about doing this thing, and I started. I went to see Eric the Four, I think it was, right? Like, and it was funny because it was easy money for him. He told me that, right? It was like, oh yeah, it was too easy. I remember he telling me that just go, and I start flying. Like I did a lot of takeoff and landing the first day with him. Flying for me was always kind of easy. Like it's on me. I always want to fly, whatever that is.
Yeah.
But I remember struggling a lot at the beginning because my equipment. It's all about the equipment at the end of the day. It's an attitude thing, and it's equipment. If you don't have the right equipment, I did the biggest mistake ever to buy used things from
Oh.
somebody on eBay, whatever it was, and it was just like you don't know much. Even then, my background is rigging. When it's a new thing, you start kind of wondering things and not paying attention to the little details.
Right.
And it got me at the beginning, right? Like I was just having hard times, in no wind conditions, hot and humid in Florida, right? Really windy. I mean, really no wind at all. With a bad setup. And but I was flying pretty much every day since whatever that year was, 2000. I don't know. It's gonna be hard to remember.
Wow.
Uh,
So did you get into the sport with someone else or by yourself?
on paramotor, you mean?
Yeah.
I started with my buddy Harry, and he was like 4 hours away from me, but we kind of always been talking on the phone and what we're gonna do and kiting. We had this obsession about we knew that it's not about the motor, it's about flying the glider.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
motor is there to kind of help you. But if you if you don't have the basic things, that is manage that glider, learn to fly the glider first, you're always going to be struggling, right? So we knew that. So we, even though we were in Florida, we were every second that we had, we were going to places to kite, and we were talking on the phone. Oh, I did this, and you know. So we did a lot of kiting together.
So
We never flew too much together, but we did a lot of kiting.
when you talk about your background with Torrey Pines, now so you've been working there for a few years now, and I just want you to know,
Yeah.
because I know you go there every day. That's your job, and you
Every
look
day.
at it like, I have to go to work, and
Right.
but I, most of the world looks at you and says you probably have the coolest job on the planet, and what you're doing is in the coolest place in America potentially. That's just my opinion. How did you get tied in? How did you end up at Torrey Pines as an instructor and a tandem pilot?
Yeah, I think everything in life is at least in my experience, that's the reason I'm in the United States, and everything related in skydiving. It's about an attitude thing. When I got to Torrey, um, I had a P3. Right, I already have done some SIVs in Florida. Obviously, Florida, you don't fly as much. I had my own winch. I had the tow rating at the time because I wanted to fly. But when I got to California and I saw you guys, right? I saw this place, Torrey Pine. That for me was like, whoa, candy, right? Like this is the
Yeah.
most amazing thing ever. And I saw that you guys could fly every day. I go, whoa, I go humble, right? And I remember saying, I cannot do what these guys do, right? Like, it's just like, whoa, right? Like, and I just quietly, I was flying on my own. But when I got to Torrey, I remember telling Gabriel, saying, yo, I'm a P3, but I want you to think that I'm a P2. So I don't, it's a lot of people. Remember, I come from Florida. We don't fly together that much. I'm a skydiver, so we do crew. We do kind of people, you know, formations, but it's different when we fly, when we're landing. It's not this amount of people. Everybody has their own space. So I got a little bit like, whoa, what's going on here? So I told Gabriel, charge me if you want. But I want you to treat me like I'm a P3, and I mean a P2.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he whatever, he asked me for some money, whatever it was, and he told me, yo, you're my best, you're my favorite student. This is, like, because he said you can fly, right? You can do this, bro. What are you talking about? So it's just like, yo, no. I want you to think. And it was funny because he abandoned me. He never really, we
Yeah.
went a couple of times through the mountains, and he's just like, yeah, whatever. And then one day, after I don't know whatever time it was, he saw me coming. I was flying. I did a lot of cross country with my motor here in California, and I used to fly beautiful path, and everywhere, right? Like I take off in one corner, and then I land 40 miles later somewhere else, right? I don't fly in circles in the same place. And I was coming back from this beautiful flight that I did. I think it was Hakumba, whatever it was, right? I think I
Yeah.
took off in uh, I don't know, whatever. But I'm coming back, and I see horse, and I saw all these guys flying in horse.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, whoa, wait a minute. So I put my motor in the back of my pickup truck at the time. I closed the thing. I got my glider, my harness, and I went, and I got a ride up to horse, and I went flying. I was flying. When I landed, Gabriel told me, because I had a bunch of group people around me because my paramotor, I guess, whatever. And I was talking to them, and I remember Gabriel telling me, yo, I've been telling you a few times to come and work for us. And I thought he was just kidding, right? Because like whatever, yo, you have some incredible pilots here, right? Like why are you gonna ask me, right? Like in my mind, it's incredible amount of freaking pilots in California. They're excellent pilots, right? You are one
Right.
of them, right? Like it's a really good pilots out there. And he grabbed me by the neck and said, "Yo, I've been asking you, come and work for us." And I remember coming home and telling my wife, I said, "I don't know. I guess I'm gonna go there on Monday and see what's going on."
Wow, no kidding.
And actually, yeah, and that was it. I started working there. I started teaching and doing tandems, and that's how it started. You know.
A couple people donated to the super chat. Walter Priori donated $5 to the super chat. Thank you. And Ken Stamey said hello, everyone, and donated $20 to the super chat. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate that. So I've got there's a whole bunch of people asking questions in the chat, and I'm glad that they're here. I want to fire some of these off because I have been neglecting the questions in the chat for a while.
Hey, how's my background over there, by the way?
Hey,
Is it good, or should I
JC,
do
you're,
this?
you're in my backyard, man. You're in Chula Vista, aren't you?
No, he's in.
I'm in San Marcos. I'm in San Marcos is like I would say east of
College, yeah.
Oceanside.
Oh, wow.
Yep, near
See-
Vista, all that area.
See,
Actually,
from here,
you
it
know
looks
where I'm
great.
at. I'm gonna show you where I'm at because we fly this little mountain behind my yard.
What?
Yeah.
Motor or
So
free?
free.
Oh.
So this cliff down here, it's like a tiny little. I have in my backyard like a tiny little black. It's hard to see from here, but behind that, if you're driving through the highway on 78, you're going to see a little cliff that has a P on top.
Oh,
I don't know if
yeah.
you guys seen it. Well, that's called P Mountain. We call it. And it's on ground E airspace, but it's a really nice actually. I hike it and with my dogs or whatever, and I fly it down, right? Because I'm not. The airspace for Palomar is right here. So the only times that I have flown it trying to get high purposely, I call the tower just in case, right? Because
That's
it's
good.
ground E.
Yep.
Uh, but if I'm gonna be below the cliff level, you're storing it there. We don't have to call. Right?
Nothing.
It's just
Yeah.
whatever. We're
So
below the cliff.
you've got Kangooks, and you've got a couple of them ready to rock and roll in the storage. If
I'm an importer Kangook, or I was, or whatever it was at the time.
Yeah.
I work with them. The reason I work with them is because I built harnesses for them at one
Right.
point,
And
and
we're
we
gonna talk
became
about
really
that.
good friends.
Yeah.
And then so I was the U.S. guy, or I am. I'm really kind of laid back with it. I don't push it hard because I believe there's a really good brands out there. I don't want to sound like these guys. If you don't fly my thing, you die, right? So
Yeah.
if you want to buy, I'll teach. I'll tell you that in my eyes, it's a really good concept because it's modular. You can put any engine, you can put any cage, you can change, upgrade. So it has a really cool idea behind, and it's aluminum, right? So
Forgiving.
it's the same. It's all of them are the same thing.
Yeah.
I
It's
fly
aluminum piece of
Kangook.
shit with a two-stroke piece of shit. Sorry, but it's the truth. They're good pieces of shit. They're fun. you know. So I don't see why they needs to be so crazy expensive. So my prices are not that bad. I think.
Yeah. So people can get a hold of you through Facebook, right? I'll put a
Yeah,
link in the
I
description.
have Kangook USA on Facebook, and I have Kangook USA website.
Cool. So a guy asked a question, Nick Griffiths. He said, "What is his go-to wing?" Since we know he's got the Kangooks. And Matthew Pesci asked, "Is JC a BGD dealer?"
I am not a BGD dealer. When I moved to California, I had some dealerships in Wings, but I work for Tory, so I try to not compromise things. But I support BGD, right? Like all my gliders are BGD.
Oh, no kidding. I didn't know
If
that.
Yeah, all my gliders are BGDs. For many years it's been BGD. I think it's I really like what he does. At
Nice.
one point, I couldn't fly BGD for other reasons, um, but yeah, they fly as good as they look in my eyes. And I always have this idea of colorful things, right? I used to have sailboats, and we always talk to my wife about having beautiful colors sails, not only
Oh, yeah.
white, right? Like, and so for me to see BGD designs is fun, and I like it. It's just beautiful.
There's another question from Jim CR120. He said, is it common for people to repack their own reserves? Is this something we could learn at an SIV?
Like I said, I don't know if you want to kind of learn an SIB, because in the SIB your brain is on all the
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
But I will say I became a master parachute rigger. Let me tell you where I started, and maybe I'll kind of make it long, but it's an attitude thing. Like I was jumping out of the airplanes in Venezuela, whatever year it was, 1994, 1992, 1994 probably, and I had to fix my parachute because I was having some issues with my VOC pocket on my container, and it was impossible to find somebody who knew what the heck they were doing. And the only guy that I thought that he may have an idea, he was not doing it for me. So I have no choice to put the time and the reading and the understanding of fixing my gear. And then slowly I was fixing my gear all the way through that I was packing reserve parachutes. It's just how you're going to educate yourself. Do you want to be, like for me, being a pilot is, or being a good pilot is not only to put right and left and be good at that.
Right. Right.
For me, being a good pilot is a good paraglide pilot is having the whole thing.
Mm.
I understand my gear, I can pack my gear, I understand my glider, I can do the lines for my glider, I can repack a parachute. You know what I mean? For me, if you have that, then for me you are a good pilot.
That's
Because
well said.
and I understood that many years ago when a really famous skydiver died because he made a mistake
Oh,
on his rigging, right? So for me, a good pilot, a good skydiver have it all. You
that's
know what I
really
mean?
good. Yeah.
And that's the way I see it. Yeah, he died, but because he made a mistake on the rigging. Well, you know what?
That's a part
That
of it.
that doesn't make you a good skydiver.
Yeah.
You
Yep.
made a mistake. That
Wow.
simple, right? Like it sucks, but it's the truth.
Yeah. That's
For
probably
me,
one
it's
of
that
the,
you have to have it all.
that might be one of the top 5 best things I ever heard said on this show. That's excellent.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate it.
Let's I want to segue real quick into a giveaway. We're going to give away some stuff tonight. We've got your name. If you're in the chat, your name's gone into the spinny wheel. Sean, are you ready to give something away?
Yeah.
I like this guy. It's funny.
By the way, this show is brought to you by American Allied Drains and Plumbing. They're actually kind of by you in the Escondido, San Marcos area.
Oh, nice.
If you're in the San Diego area, especially if you're in Escondido and you're needing plumbing, you need something done, American Allied Drains and Plumbing is your company. If you mention Paragliding Talk, you'll get a 10% discount on their services. Their phone number is 844-777-9055. Reach out to them and they'll get you squared away. Also, the show's brought to you by Nebraska
Spinning.
PPG. Yeah, go for it.
Woo! All right.
Josh Bowden runs a school in Nebraska. If you're interested in getting some top-notch training, sign up with Josh and his team today. There'll be a link in the description if you want to get a hold of him. All right. What are we giving away, by the way?
I don't know, but it's going to be good.
It's going to be something good. Let's do some AMS oil. Yeah, we're gonna
All
give away
right.
some Amsoil. Amsoil Saber. Yeah, now that I have a motor, I had to buy. Oh, John Wayne donated $10 to the super chat. Thanks, John Wayne. Appreciate that.
We're gonna be
Jim CR120. He wants to take credit. You just bring him on here as a moderator. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be right on the line.
Right on.
Altmeyer. I butchered that name. Sorry, Christopher Altmeyer. I'm bad with names, but Christopher Altmeyer.
Congratulations, winner, chicken dinner. Christopher, if you'll reach out to me on the website, paraglidingtalk.com, and I just need your address, and I will ship out some Amsoil Saber. Maybe you don't have a motor, just mention that. If we can get you something else, if you don't have a motor, just let me know in the chat if you're still watching.
Hey, I can donate you a PPG smoke strobe light if right now if you want me to.
Oh,
but
yeah?
I need to give it to you. Yeah.
Okay.
So you wanna add it there? Huh?
Yeah, let's do it, man. PPG
Put it
smoke strobe system with the 3 strobes.
The 3 strobe thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool though. I have I can
You have a
give you
couple?
those for donated for them. Yeah, a couple of them. Yeah.
All right.
Go for it whenever you want.
Let's do it. Let's spin it right
If
now.
you want to do it
Really?
right now,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Let's do
Yeah,
it.
we can do it. Yeah. Here you go. Just a second. I gotta
What-
figure out how to share this stinking thing.
Wait, is my name in
While,
there?
while you do that, I'm gonna go get something.
Yeah, go get something, and we're going to spin it. Spin it to
Yeah, let
win
me
it.
see here.
Sean, I need you to rig it. Rig
I
this
got-
thing for me
I don't know.
right now.
I don't know how to rig it. I
I
don't
Come
know how
on,
to rig
I
it.
need you
You
to do
ready?
this.
I got it up. It's
You
all
got
up.
this.
Let's ready to go.
I
Hey,
want to get something.
I even left the last name in there, so it's all good.
Yeah, where's
Should
my?
work,
Okay, I
but
see
I'm
it.
gonna
I
go
see it.
come
in
back
the
You
with
email.
ready?
something.
Yeah,
You gonna
Say
spin
hello
it?
to my little friends.
spin it.
There we go. We're spinning.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna win. I feel it. Come on, win.
Dude.
He feels the winning of
Yeah.
losing.
Well, if I don't win this one, then I might just have to extort Ryan Roberts for one of the
It's
micro.
okay if you don't win it. I'll give you one. How about that?
No. I always go to Ryan Roberts, and it's like a kid in a candy store. I just start taking things, and he's like, "Go ahead."
Oh, I have other things that I can give you. I just
Yeah.
I have another thing that I can give you too.
Oh, you do?
That I will never use. Yes, one
is
of
it?
those things on the I
Chase
will never
cam.
use that. The chase came from him. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I'm
it's gonna-
sorry.
Big Tex or Justin Schoen. It's gonna be really close. That's a greasy
Good
little-
lemonade right there.
Oh,
Right on the line.
yeah.
Justin Schoen.
Wow.
Yeah, buddy.
Congratulations.
Justin Schoen. And he won strobe system.
Congratulations.
I'll take it to Tori tomorrow.
Okay, all right. Congratulations, winner, chicken dinner. I gotta write. Christopher won the saber. So I really appreciate everybody that watches the show and you come and hang out every week and I feel like this is part of the family. So you guys are awesome. Thank you so much, all you guys that have been watching the show for a long period of time. Seriously, man, it's awesome. It's nice to come to somewhere where we can learn stuff together, and make it kind of fun rather than some boring classroom. Okay, now we're going to take a test. You can make it's fun. So, by the way, this show is also brought to you by iFly Indiana Powered Paragliding. If you're interested in flying paramotors, no better place to get the proper training than iflyindiana.com. Kevin and his team will get your feet off the ground. Okay, I got another question from Jim CR120. He said, if a PPG-2 wants to learn free flight, would an SIV give him the skills he might lack?
Well, in my eyes, that's a tough question because a PPG-2 doesn't tell me much. Sadly, just let me say it that way. I don't want to get anybody upset about it, but I think depending of your background, right? Like a PP2, I have seen PP2s that are no PP2s. You know what I mean? Like they fly the glider because they have an engine on their backs. They're flying the engine, they're not flying the glider. And I see a lot of that in paramotor, at least what I used to see a lot on the East Coast. The instructor wants to give you the most powerful engine out there. And obviously, if you put a powerful engine to a picnic table, that thing is going to fly, right? So
Yeah.
that's my view. So for me, it's hard to say, yeah, just go ahead and do an SIV because I don't know. Are you going to be able to even tell, right? Like, is your skill good enough that it's not going to get you in trouble later, right? Like, I don't know. Are you a PP2 for how long, right? Because you could be a PP2, but you have that rating that you got it 3 years ago and you've been flying your ass off, and then yeah, that's good, right? So always an SIV is going to give you some information. I'm not going to say that just because you're a PP2 you can do it, right? I
Right.
don't know.
Yeah.
It's a tough one for me. Like I do it the other way around. I teach you to fly a paraglider first, then I put a motor on your back.
And I think that's the right way. That's just me personally, because
So for me, it's a basic thing, right? Like
yeah.
you have to manage a glider
Yep.
first. You need to be able to bring it up. You need to be able to manage that. And if you manage that, then the next thing you're going to need to be able to manage is going to be now weight, correct? Because now you're going to have a paramotor on your back. So now you need to be able to manage the glider and the weight. Then you're going to need.
Oh, he froze. JC.
Come back, man.
Come back, JC. It was getting.
I believe where he was going with that was managing your internet speed.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. I'm
So-
pretty confident, but I could be wrong.
He's probably going to have to just restart his phone or whatever. But if I can kind of jump off of what he was saying, when you're coming from the free flight world, I feel like I manage my wing pretty well. I'm not the best, but I'm learning, and I've been very passionate about wing control and even taking control of higher wind situations where the wind is wanting to drag you around. And when you put a motor on your back, now you're adding another thing that you're having to manage, where it's taking away a little bit from your wing management. So some guys will argue and say, well, no, we're choosing to fly in really calm conditions. And so, it's just, there's no real need for wing management. No, you better know your wing. You have to know your wing on all, because what happens if you get in the air and now you're coming to land and the winds are, 20 miles an hour or something like that, you're going to get dragged all over. JC, you're back?
He's muted.
Oh, you're muted. Let me see. I can send this. Try it now.
I'm glad you made it back, JC.
I made it back, bro. That was something. Some big hand took me out.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird. So yeah, I don't know if for me, it's manage the glider first, fly the glider, learn the survival skills, then put a motor on your back.
Yep.
I
agree. I like that.
Like I lost a really good guy not long ago, and he learned paramotor only, and I think the key is the reason I think he died. He made a mistake. Simple. But that mistake is when you learn to fly the motor only, it's difficult for that pilot to feel where is that point where the glider is not flying anymore. It's like a disconnection is what I see, where that input that you're doing or that amount of thrust that you're using is making actually that glider not to fly correctly. And because you never felt that before when you were flying without a motor, it gets you. what I think, because it's just like it's every time, eh?
Every time.
It's every freaking time that
Yeah.
they die or whatever, right? Like, is there no under? And it's just like, how come no you cannot feel that glider? Like, I don't understand it. It's so hard for me to understand. The glider is telling you way in advance, yo, you're going to eat some dirt.
Yeah.
You just need to know where that point is.
Yep. Yeah. I did an SIV and I learned a lot at the SIV, things that just you don't really know what the glider is going to do in certain situations, and it's
Right.
always going to be a little different. Sometimes you get popped in a thermal, and then your wing gets light loaded, and it wants to fold up and whatever. Um, there's going to be situations where you're inducing it, so you're prepared. You know what's going to happen.
Right.
There's all kinds of things that you can learn from SIV, and I think they're excellent. I don't think that it's the end all. We just had a couple guys on the last show that went and did an SIV after their first flights. They went right to an SIV. So they spent a couple days training at Eagle, and then they signed up for an SIV and went to the moon. And they got a lot of lessons, but I think I was grateful that I had already a couple years of flying before I
Right.
took my SIV, because I knew now what my glider was saying and I processed
Right.
it.
Right. You can do this. I mean, that not necessarily means that you're really learning much. You know what I mean? You can go through the motions and do it. That doesn't mean that you really got it. You're just doing it. And you were lucky or whatever happened, or you landed on the water, whatever. I got away on my train because, like, remember, I said that, right? Like, the first time that I put a paraglider on my back without a motor, I did an SIV. I did it that way. But remember, I had 10,000 jumps at airplanes at the time.
Yeah. A lot of
You know what I
canopy.
mean? Like, I flew all kind of canopies. I was a test jumper. You know what I mean? Like, I did
Yeah.
incredible amount of flying. Right? That's why it was easier for me. And I probably had a really slow. I think I had an Eden, whatever it was, right? Like a really slow glider too, and it scared me a few times, right? Because they're way more dynamic than a parachute.
Right.
So, and I got away. But if you ask me today, I will say no, man. Learn to fly that glider first.
Yeah.
Learn to fly the glider first.
There's a guy named Will Fly. He said, "Is there a skydiving school in my town? Would they be able to pack a paramotor reserve?" I don't
So
know.
the only difference in between a paramotor or let's call it this way, a paraglider reserve, paramotor reserve, in between a emergency parachute for skydivers or a airplane pilot is the an airplane emergency parachute for a pilot. The apex of that reserve is up. So when you ejecting or jumping out of the airplane that is malfunctioning, that guy is going to pull a reserve, and that guy is going to be going at terminal velocity that is 120 miles per hour at least,
Yeah.
right? So the apex of that reserve is up to stream down that parachute and slowly open. The difference between paraglider reserve now is that the apex, the top of that parachute, is pulled down,
Ah.
and that is made for slow deployments. Does it make
Right.
sense? So slow. You still, you when you have to deploy your reserve in your paraglider or your paramotor, you still have fabric on top of you
Yeah.
that is slowing. You are not going 120 miles per hour,
Yeah.
right? So that's the only difference. So any rigger should be able to pack that for you. If it's a rigger, it should and this is the key on and I laugh a lot actually because I check my head all the time. Being a rigger, what it is that you demonstrated a FAA parachute rigger is that you demonstrated to that examiner, to that rigger, that you can read a manual and that you have the skills to understand it and do what the manufacturer is telling you to do for that specific reserve. That's it. So when I pack a parachute, the first thing I do, even that I have 25 years of rigging experience, the first thing I do is I understand first. I do it backwards on purpose to check myself. The first thing I do is I check that parachute and I say, oh, why the manufacturer did this? Oh, I'm going to guess, right? And I start questioning myself. I'm going to guess that these guys, they designed this parachute for this reason, right? And then, and I will kind of test myself and say, well, if that's the reason, I will pack it this way. And the next step that I do before I even pack it is I go to the manual and you read it and you follow the steps. If you're a parachute rigger and a FAA parachute rigger, and you don't read the manual of the manufacturer, they will kick you out. They will take your rating away because you are not following so let me put it this way. Do you think that just because you fold fabric, you're going to know more than the manufacturer? More than the manufacturer, that they designed that rig, that they did test drops, that they understood that this glider or this parachute or whatever it was broke at this specific speed for this reason, we better pack it this way.
Right.
So like that's what it's all about.
Yep.
So I will never go and pack a parachute saying I know how to do it.
Right.
Even that I am a master parachute, I'm going to understand what is this all for. I'm going to go to the manufacturer. I'm going to read for some safety. It could be a safety notice. You know what I mean? You cannot just blindly pack a parachute.
Yeah.
And the skydiving doesn't work that way. So I'm trained that way. You cannot just go ahead and grab it and pack it. You have to follow what serial number it is, what year it was. Does it have a safety notice? You know what I mean? You have to go and understand what's going on with that specific rig. But yes, any good parachute rigger will read the manual and will pack that parachute for you.
Very good information. Do you do a clinic, packing clinic at the Torrey Pines?
No, I
Max used to do it. I know Gabe used to do one too.
Gabe used to do it, but it's the same thing. What I'm saying, right? Like, it's difficult to change a little bit of the. I come from the skydiving background, 25 years of parachute experience.
Right.
So how do you change an old dog to talk? Right? Like, I don't want to be the one. You know what I mean? Like, I just like, I try and I say, it's not what you think it is. It's not because you did it 20 times. That's the way it's supposed to be.
Right.
Read the manual. Look at the information that manufacturer is telling you.
Yeah. So, and this is just me personally, with the glider, with the reserves, when you next month, we're going to probably do a full show on reserves. We did one last year. We always do it in the month of May, and we say May Day, time to get your reserves repacked. Getting this information, sometimes you've got reserves that are not necessarily widely known, or the person bought the reserve, it came with another setup and you don't have that the documentation.
Right.
Is that something that somebody can find online, or is it
you should be able to find online? You should be able to know what you have.
Okay.
To start with. If like, one more time, are you a good pilot?
Right.
Or you're just good pulling right and left?
Right. Very good.
Right, because anybody can pull right and left, but it's one more time, it's an attitude thing.
Yep.
Are you a good pilot? Then yes, you should know about your gear. You should know about your carabiners. You should know about anything related with it, stuff that you're flying. If no, it's just like kind of dumb you know what I mean? Like, I come from that. I remember in skydiving is the ground is coming, and it's coming at least 120 miles per hour.
Yep.
So Here for me, it's everything really slow, and still people makes mistakes, right?
Yeah.
Like compare, right? So what I see is just understand what you have, read it, just put a little bit of effort on what parachute you have. I will be gladly to help you, to help anybody. I'll do it all the time. Like, yeah, don't
Yeah.
bring it on, don't worry about it. And I start scratching my head why they did it this way. I don't like this, and I can question the manufacturer sometimes because I build parachutes for a
Right.
living, right?
Right.
So I can question things, and I was like, why they do that, right? Like, like I said the other day, I think it's just like it makes me crazy to see the reserve parachutes, the containers. I'm sorry, that these manufacturers have on their harnesses, because it's just sad sometimes, right? Premature openings easy to have, and you know what I mean. And that for me is my biggest paranoia flying. Is
Yeah.
my parachute's gonna come out on the worst time. So safety pin. I see it at Tory. I see it in any site. If you see me taking off a Tory with my tandem, you're gonna see my right hand going back towards my reserve container, and I'm going to be feeling with my finger my loop and my pin, and I'm going to feel where that pin is in relationship to the loop, how far away it is.
Mm.
Because if it's too close, it's dangerous, right?
Yeah.
If
It
it's
could
too
pop out.
right, so it's a thing that we do in an airplane in every jump. It's
Right.
called check your
Pre-check.
pin, right?
Yeah.
Pin check, right? So you see me doing it.
Yep.
I see people getting out of the car, open the backpack, putting it on, and never even looking at it, never even go and doing like if I switch harnesses, like I do it a lot sometimes when I'm flying tandems or I'm flying my solo. The first thing I do is I do that, right? Visual inspection, then field inspection before I take off, and then the next thing I do as soon as I take off is I do a quick, like, where is my handle? Because if you switch from a super handle, super harness to a jean or whatever that is, the position of that handle sometimes changes, right? So sorry guys,
That's
I
all right.
have two dogs, big dogs,
Yeah.
and so for me, that one more time, are you a good pilot?
Yeah. Is there a way to check? Is there a certain qualification that somebody would have that you could say, "Hey, I want to see your license for packing reserves," or is this something that is
Not in
not mandated?
paragliding. Sadly,
Okay.
sadly not in paragliding. I don't, unless you went to a manufacturer facility and you got trained, you're never gonna have a letter or something, because in on the FAA you have, with the FAA skydiving, because it's an FAA thing, you need to have a rating.
Right.
But in the paragliding, you don't have to have a rating. It's unregulated at the end of the day. Yeah, we're part 103. That's it.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you pack reserves?
Yes.
Oh, you do. So people can here in San Diego. How much do you charge?
Yes. Like when it's a paragliding reserve, I go through
Tori.
Tori.
Oh, so you just go to the front
I
desk and they pay it, and then you
Yeah,
pack it. Okay.
and they gave it to me. If you want me to personally pack it, you said you put there a 1JC to pack,
Okay. Got it.
and I will take care of it.
Nice.
If no, it will be Max, or when all the time was Gabriel or whoever is there. They pack reserve.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I prefer. I would prefer, if you ask me, what would you? I hate packing.
Yeah.
It's what I
Yeah.
did for 25 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do it, but I don't want to play with nylon on the ground. I like to play with nylon. You know what I mean, above
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
head.
Yeah.
So I would love for every pilot to understand what they have and pack their own thing. It's easy. It's not. It's understanding how the deployment system goes. What is it you need to do? It's understanding your gear.
Right.
So I will be I would love to do like, yeah, let's do a seminar that not necessarily is just my seminar, is your own seminar on your own gear. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah,
This is
that's
what you
great.
have, and this is what you should do. Um, I don't want to do show. Let me show you how good I pack parachutes. I don't want to do that, right? Like I want to show you how you can pack your own parachute and understand it
I like that. I might take you up on that.
anytime.
Yeah.
Just
We're
bring some beers and come to mine.
yeah. You do it in the garage at your house.
I know. I'll do. Normally I do it at when it's a paraglider reserve. I do it at Torrey.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm coming.
I when it's somebody who shows up to my house, I'll do it in my.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever.
Awesome.
know.
Well, we're at that 7 o'clock mark. We're going to go to the after show. If you are a part of the you've been a part of Patreon or PayPal, or you've supported the show on the super chat or and any capacity, you can come and join us for the after show. Just put your email link in the description. I do have to mention just a couple more sponsors. One is Lone Star Paramotor. If you're in the Lone Star state of Texas, you can reach out to Ron Turan and his team for world-class training. That's LoneStarParamotor.com. They can get you trained up. Also, the show is brought to you by Torrey Pines Glider Port. If you do want to learn how to free fly in the most beautiful place in the United States,
Or paramotor.
Or paramotor. Yeah. I didn't realize that. You guys
So remember, the way we do it, or the way I do it at Torrey, is you learn P1 and P2, and after you get your P2, then I'll take you to do paramotor.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Right.
It's a good thing we had you on here. I didn't know that. So you can reach out to Max, Marion, or JC, and we'll get you all set up. So thank you. We're gonna go to the after show. Just
I have to move.
yeah, it's okay. I'm gonna mute JC for just a second. So thank you guys. Thank you guys all, everybody in the chat, everybody who's been watching the show. You guys are awesome. We're gonna go to the after show if you want to jump on, and JC will be on for a few more minutes. I know he wants to probably decompress from coming straight from work to do more work. So I really appreciate that, JC. Thank you for coming on. And I also want to say thanks to the moderators, Anthony Peregringo, Sean Nafsker, Craig Taylor, Nick Vasakis. Thank you guys for what you do. We're going to have, we'll have him come on again soon. And we are going to do a show in May on reserves. So stay tuned for that. And I've got another show lined up for next week. We'll have a great time. I'll keep it a secret, just like I always do. And so thanks for watching. If I don't see you on the